How to improve your email content for more conversions. This is a little sneak peek behind the scenes of what what I tinker with my emails to help me improve conversions, to help me improve my results. Hi, I'm Manal and I run Marketing by Manal and I specialize in email marketing for small businesses. So let's look at what I do to improve my results. Well, I always look at what's working. First of all, when I sit down to write my weekly email, I go through the report for the email the week before and I look at the results and I look at things like how many people opened it, how many people clicked, what they clicked on, and where in the email that they clicked. Doing that helps me to really understand what's working in my email. So one of the things that I noticed, a couple of years ago, was whenever I included an image in my email, I was always looking where people clicked in the email. My email marketing software offers me a heat map, so I can tell where in the email people are clicking. When I included an image, in my emails, 100% of the clicks would always happen on that image. So what did I do? I started looking at ways to improve that image. So if, for example, I was sharing a blog post, the image would have the title of the blog post. It would have a photo that would help people understand a bit more about the blog post, because we are visual people. We process images much quicker than we process text. But the one thing that I did was to add a button to that image. So we all know what to do with buttons when we see them online. We know that we should be clicking on them. So to encourage more clicks, I added a button. So I use Canva to make my designs. And in Canva, I would pick a rounded button, because buttons that have rounded ends get a higher conversion rate than buttons that are rectangle. So a rounded button with some quite compelling text on it, with my call to action on it. And once I changed that, I could see, actually, I knew that 100% of the clicks were happening there. But what was happening was I was getting more clicks. So every click happened on the image, but there were more of them. And that's because my call to action was higher up in the email, but that image was working really hard. Number one, to tell people exactly what was in that email. If they didn't want to read the whole email, they knew it was about blog post, they knew the topic, and they knew they had to click. So that's why I spent such a long time really honing that email design. Another thing that I do is really look at my subline. So this is important because your subject line, coupled with who the email's from, that it's a recognizable sender, those two things help people to understand whether they want to open that email or not. So you want to get those opens, because people are not going to act on whatever the content is without getting those opens. And the subject line is one part of what helps people make that decision. So I remember way back when before I even started working in email marketing, when I used to get emails and I'd get things like February newsletter, those kinds of subject lines don't work anymore. Inboxes are crowded and you really need to craft something that makes your email stand out from all the other emails in those inboxes. Now, my biggest tip here is to write your subject line last. So create your entire email, write all the content, and make sure you put in that call to action. Once you've done that, work on the subject line. What can you write that will convince people that they want to open that email? It might be a question. There might be some numbers in that. So it might be that you're offering some tips. It might be 3 tips, or it could be a question. It could be something humorous if that's appropriate for your business, but it's something that really helps people go, oh, actually, I need to open that right now. That's something that I need to look at now. And you can personalize subject lines, not just with people's names, because that's been happening for a long time. But the more information that you gather about your subscribers, you can personalize subject lines. So it could be that you collect the towns that people live in, and your subject line could be attention, all Londoners. So this is, I'm in London, that's for me. I'm going to open that. What is in this email that I need to know about London? Okay, so think about how you can look at and improve your subject lines and do some testing. Email software allows you to A/B test your subject lines to understand which ones work, or go back over I don't know, 6 months worth of emails, depending on how frequently you send. 6 months is quite a lot of emails for me because I send weekly. But if you send every other week, go back over 6 months worth of emails and look at the open rates. The ones with the higher open rates are where the subject line has been working really hard for you. And then the other thing that I do is really look at the body of my emails. Okay, so I look at how I structure it. I look at the white space around it. So I don't try to crowd my emails with lots of text. If I have got quite a lot of information to share, I write in smaller paragraphs. I break things up into smaller paragraphs. And I try to write emails that won't take people longer than about 3 minutes to read. If it's any longer than that, I send them off somewhere. I send them off to my website to read a blog post, or I include something that they download that has more information in it. So really looking at how you can optimize the body, the language that you use, where you put you might have a title for the email, where you put the image, testing, like moving the image around, whether that makes any difference. And the last thing I do is just test my CTAs, my calls to action. I'm testing things in a different way. So I'm using different words. I'm using the first person. So if I'm asking people to register for a webinar, the call to action might be, I want to learn this. So people are thinking, yeah, actually, I do want to learn this. I'm going to click on that. So just try looking at those calls to action and either make them fun or use some urgency. You could even, if you're a product-based business and you're having a sale, or you've created an offer, the call to action could be, I want to save 20% today. So think about all the different ways that you can work to optimize your emails for conversion. These are a couple of things that I do behind the scenes. Everything that I've just talked to you about is applicable whether you run a service business or a product business. That's a quick look at the changes I'm making behind the scenes to improve conversions in my emails. And this is not a once and done. This is something that I do all the time. So you need to be looking at what's working and what isn't and just changing things up. Let me know in the comments what changes you're making to your email content. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more tips.